What's going on? I wanted to quickly go over the baits that I used in the Bearcat Kayak Classic last weekend on Pony Express Lake. That's a fundraiser tournament to help fund the Northwest Fishing Club, which I used to be a part of. But I went down there. This was just last weekend. Went down there. There was 12 people that competed. I came in second with 97.5 inches. The guy who came in first had 98 1/4. And I don't remember what third place got, but we had a pretty great day for anywhere in Missouri, but especially Northwest Missouri. It was really something to kind of talk about. I caught everything on just 3 baits all day. I tried a bunch of other stuff, couldn't get bit, and they're all pretty similar baits that I caught everything on. I started my day off throwing some topwater, buzz bait and spook, and couldn't get bit. So I switched to this guy here, which is a traffic cone color, 3/8 ounce football head bladed jig from LS Lures. And on the back of that, I got just a Fire Crush City freeloader. Started out with this pretty early in the morning before the sun came up, and I had my limit on this bait by 7:10, I think. And I had already had 4, I think, coals by 7:50. Before 8 o'clock, I had 4 coals, I'm pretty sure. And that was all on this bait here. And then I worked my way into a creek and got near my buddy Chris, which he's one of the best chatterbait fishermen I've ever seen. So I didn't want to let him know exactly what I was throwing, but wanted to throw something believable. So I picked this thing up just to try to throw him off. This is a 3/4 ounce football head bladed jig, also from LS Lures. This is in the pacifier color with, this is one of them 6-cent swim baits. They were on clearance at Walmart a while ago. And I actually really like it on stuff like this because it's pretty tough plastic. I didn't know if I was going to like them or not, but I like it on these and I like it on my buzz baits. I haven't thrown them on much else. But anyways, I threw this into a treetop and caught my biggest of the day, 20-incher on the first cast with this, and then didn't get bit again on this. Whenever I was throwing this, I was pretty well targeting anywhere that there was like a variance in structure on the bank. So if there was a piece of wood, throw it on that. If there was a bunch of grass going down the bank and then the grass stopped for like a small patch of rocks, I'd throw this at it and usually get bit. It was pretty predictable, all the bites on this one. I did catch one on the dam and I lost one on the dam on it. Those were less predictable because they were just hanging out in the rocks somewhere and decided they had to have it. And then I caught a couple on it and occasional trees, where it would just be, one tree without any limbs out in the open. I wasn't really catching them in brush piles. I wasn't catching them out of like cedar trees and stuff with a bunch of limbs and a bunch of brush, but standalone pieces of cover it seemed like they were holding to, and that was in 6 to 10 foot of water, and then the other stuff was pretty well right on the bank. The bite on this guy kind of dried up a little bit. Seemed like they weren't eating it as well as they were in the morning. So I just had this one already. I was throwing this one earlier in the week somewhere else, and I had it just laying in the bottom of the boat, so I tied it on. It's the same exact bladed jig. The only difference is it's got a little bit different trailer here. This is some kind of craw from Missile Baits. I couldn't tell you what it is, but fire craw. Got it at the awards at a tournament that I fished a couple years ago. And but I threw this, and this had a lot of thump. Obviously, these got a lot more thump than that little tickle tail you got there. And it really seemed to get them fired up again, especially once the wind picked up and it started stirring up the water and muddying up the water. I think that little bit of extra thump seemed to work. Either that or it's all in my head, but either way, stopped getting bites on that, switched to this, and started getting bites again. And once the wind picked up, because it got rolling pretty good, I was going and fishing wherever the wind was crashing and there was wood. In the morning before the wind picked up, they weren't really around the trees that were recently hinge cut by MDC. It seems like the trees kind of gas a little bit, and the fish don't want to be near that whenever they're recently cut and put into the water. So whenever the water was still and there wasn't a bunch of wind stirring everything up, it seemed like they were avoiding that. But whenever the wind picked up and it was crashing on them. I was throwing this. I think I still could have got bit on this once the wind picked up and they started eating again. But whenever everything was stirred up and muddy, this seemed to be the answer there with that little bit of kick. But I probably caught 20-something fish throughout the day. A bunch of really nice ones. I got a cull in the last, I don't know, hour and a half. Went from 17 and a half to 19 and 3/4, I think it was my last cull of the day on this bait here. But this was, once I figured out that this was all that they were going to eat for me, I pretty well locked one of these two in my hand all day long. Except for a few casts with this. I threw around spinnerbait a little bit and never got bit on it. I think I could have force fed it to them, but I mean, if they're as well as they were eating something like this, I didn't see the reason to change it up. Tried all kinds of stuff, crankbait, jig, wacky rig around the wood before the wind picked up. Didn't really seem like they were real fired up about anything except for this bright orange, at least for me. I don't really know how the other guys caught them. I know the guy in first said that he caught them dragging a jig, and then one on a crankbait. And then the guy in third, I know he was throwing, I think his was an albino rhino pinhead from LS Lures. That's my buddy Chris Cramsey. And I'm pretty sure that's what he was throwing. And he came in third place. So it was a good day to be throwing LS Lures for sure. And a bad day to be a bass eating a chatterbait. So thank you guys for watching.